Welcome, all you amazing people, to our Aries full moon reading. The Aries full moon is going to be reaching its fullest on October 20th, around 8:56 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So wherever you're at in the world, you can adjust for that, because that's going to be at the very climax of all the energies. This is an Aries full moon, so you got all that fiery energy of Aries being a fire sign, and then multiply that times the regular, just huge energy of a full moon, and you've got Shazam! You got all this energy coming in, a lot of energy. Of course, with the full moon and with all this amplification, emotions are also going to be amplified in a huge way. So just know whatever emotion that you're focusing on, and whatever emotion you choose during that time, you're going to feel it in a big way. But it's wonderful. I mean, you can feel the energy up to a week before the full moon, up to a week or so after the full moon. The more closer we get to the full moon, the more intense it is, the more dreams you're going to have, and you're going to feel all that. So if you feel out of sorts, just look up at the sky and go, the full moon. That is why my emotions are feeling very, expanded. What's great too is we had 2 full moons in a row in Aquarius in July and August, and then we just had a full moon in Pisces last month. So that had us all on this track of dreamy times, and then we followed that up with the energy of the Pisces full moon, which was about putting some practical plans to those dreams. So putting some plans around the steps towards that dream. And now we have all this blast of energy that we can use and focus it onto those steps. However, it's always a however, right? Also keep in mind that moving from Pisces to Aries, we're ending the cycle of the zodiac signs. We reached the end of Pisces and we're moving in to the beginning again with Aries. And so this might bring some new awareness, and it might cause you to desire to make revisions to the dream, make revisions to the plan. So you might alter your path a little bit, and that's totally okay. So if you feel that energy of wanting to switch things up, don't resist that, because it is part of this beautiful energy that will help you with all of that. Now, the last new moon we had in Aries was back on April 11th of this year, and that was a time of taking action on things. So when you look back around April 11th and see what was going on around that time, what kind of actions you did initiate, because now is also the time to reevaluate. You plant seeds and everything with a new moon. It grows into the harvest of the full moon. And then as you wane away from that to head back towards a new moon again, in that whole cycle of Aries new moon to Aries full moon, back to Aries new moon, it's like 6 months between a new moon and a full moon in the sign, and then back again. So, this moving away from the full moon will be a time where you're also going to be looking at what you're ready to let go of. So, there's all of this reevaluation type of energy coming with this full moon, because of the ending of that big cycle of Aries to Pisces and going back into Aries again, as well as the full moon. You're reaching the climax of the full moon and headed backward. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do a reading for each sign, and the question we're kind of going to look at is, what can you reevaluate? But really, I really feel like with all this energy, it's where can you direct this lightning bolt of energy that's coming? What advice does Spirit and the Creator have for us on where we can direct it for the most beneficial experience and most in alignment of who we want to be and where we want to go? So we're going to go ahead and jump right into your reading right now. All right, all my Aquarians, this is your reading for the full moon in Aries. And we're going to start off by pulling a card here from the Spirit of the Animals Oracle. And this is just going to be what the Creator wants you to know, just overall about the 3-week period around this full moon. And of course, whatever the creator would like you to know about where you could direct this lightning bolt of amazing energy into your life. So let me just give these a quick shuffle. All right. So, creator, for our Aquarians, what would you like them to know about this 3-week period? All our Aquarians. Okay. Like this is the one that is calling our name. And you got the Puffin partnership. Cute. And it says, accept yourself and your colorful personality. Feel confident about being you. You are a joy bringer. Let your community nourish and protect you. Ask for help. Teamwork will give you the best results. Beautiful. So definitely bringing a lot of beautiful energy in. Getting support, asking for help. And the other energy that this card brings, it's companionship it talked about, but it's colorful. It's groups. Loyalty, sensual, good parent, awkward, hard worker, and fun. It's a lot of variety that this puffin has, this character that it brings. And of course, it is very unique looking. Puffins live in extremes of cold and seasonal darkness. They mate for life, and their love keeps them warm. Puffins, with their natural tuxedos, are dressed up in black and white with just a touch of color. They have a big attitude and are very expressive. Puffins are caring and thoughtful parents. When they leave their young to go to sea, they leave their offspring with relatives for safety. Wow. Puffins are clumsy creatures on land, but are incredible dancers in the sea. They belong to the water. Their lives are long, loving, and never lonely. Puffin people share these amazing qualities. They are fun, colorful, hardworking, loving, and full of contrasts. They like to dress up and strut their stuff. Puffin people can see the best qualities and beauty in everyone and never focus on their foibles. If Puffin is your totem, the desire for a lifelong mate will be strong. Partnership is important to you. Cooperation to care for the young is a dominant point of focus. Warm companionship is your aim, so remember to nurture your relationships. And these cards come with some questions or advice. So whatever, there's 4 of them, and whichever ones resonate with you, you can look at and contemplate during this 3-week period that we'll talk about in a sec. Number 1 is, are you waddling around? Regain elegance in a salt bath or relax by the sea. Number 2, have you lost contact with your home and family? Reconnect. Number 3, are you sensitive about your appearance and not focused on just how fun, beautiful, and deserving you are? And number 4, avoid self-criticism. Believe in yourself. So definitely a lot of colorfulness coming in here. We're going to get more clarification on this for you. There's a lot of different areas this is covering. And of course, it's a general reading, so it's going to impact you all, differently. But we're going to start off by pulling a card here from this Naked Heart Tarot. And we're going to pull 3 cards. The first is going to be the week before the full moon, then the week after the full moon, and then 2 weeks after the full moon. We'll see what else the creator wants you to know here, because it is focusing on partnership, which doesn't necessarily mean romantic. It can be business partnership, friendship, like it talked about reconnecting with family and having a family member being that person that you're supporting one another through whatever you're going through in your life, or heading towards your goals and dreams, whatever it might be. It also can mean partnership with spirit, with the other side, with the creator, spirit, Holy Spirit, whatever your faith is, guardian angels and angels, your spirit guides, your loved ones who've been here on the earth and already returned home, which can talk about reconnecting to family, reconnecting to loved ones on the other side. Got ancestors, just a whole slew of beings of unconditional love and light on the other side that they definitely are wanting to co-create and be a part of co-creating our life, but they won't mess with our free will. We have to ask them to be that partner with us of our own free will. All right, so let's take a look here. So for our Aquarians, what do you want them to know about the week before the full moon? Okay. What about the week after? Okay. What about 2 weeks after the full moon? Okay. And then we're also going to pull a card here from the Wild Unknown Tarot. And we're going to pull a card like we did for each week. Or cards, depending on what comes out. We'll take whatever we can get. All right, so for the first week before the full moon, okay, yep, see, 2. And what about the week after the full moon? Okay, this one. And what about 2 weeks after the full moon? Alrighty, so let's dig in and see what you have in store. So the week before the full moon, you got the Wheel of Fortune. This is a very fortunate card because it is talking about change and that there's a change in a movement in your life, which there always is. But the beautiful story that comes with this, for me, again, it's a 10, so it's endings and new beginnings. And it is this awareness that before we come down to the planet, we choose when we're going to, come into this game and when we're going to leave this game of life. And we decide what avatar we're going to be when we come down, and we understand what strengths and weaknesses and weapons and, whatever, like when you play a video game and you choose who you're going to be in the beginning, we decide and we understand, everything we are before we come down here. And then we also plan all the levels, all the experiences and events. There's all this fated stuff that we want to have come into our lives while we're playing this game, because there's things we want to learn about ourselves, things we want to grow in and experience. And so we have all these things that unfold. Now our little human avatar, we still get to choose within each of these situations what story that we're going to put around it, because things just happen, they just are. But what puts the color on it, is our emotion around it, the story we put around it. And we get to decide what emotion we do want to feel in every moment. Is it going to be an emotion of extreme fear, or an emotion of extreme unconditional love, or something in between? So we're having this free will that we have as we weave through and we go through this. And then, like I was saying, before we come down, we do meet with, the Creator knows what we want, Spirit knows, all of that posse of beings of unconditional love and light I was talking about that want to help co-create our life. They're making sure all these events are happening, unfolding. But still, while we're down here of our own free will, like I mentioned, they won't mess with our choices. But if we want to get that additional support, that additional answers, signs, synchronicities, etc., then we can ask, and they will definitely help us. Unless it's something that we told them, like, I need to not know this in order to experience what I want to experience, then they have their list of like, oh, no, this is on the list of, we can't tell you about that. That's a need to know, and you don't need to know that yet, and so, that's the only time that they don't, is because of what we've asked them to. But the beautiful message that comes with this card is then that life is happening for us. It's not happening to us. And so when we feel like we're on this drama train that's going so fast and out of control that it feels like it's going to jump its track and veer off into this gorge and burst into flames, we can see it more as that it's a monorail that's on this track that it cannot come off of. It's a smooth ride, and it has all these stops that it is designed to stop at, and it will. And so we can see it, life from a whole different point of view. And so I really feel this partnership is super focused on having our, winged friends, has all these wings on here, has all this spiritual support on the other side for our lives. And it can also be understanding that certain people are destined to come into our life on purpose, for a purpose. In fact, everyone we come across on purpose, for a purpose, and they are going to be with us for a season, whether it's one day, 1 week, 1 year, 10 years, or our entire life. It's a season, and we know that it's all planned and it's all perfect for us. So definitely with anything that's happening, again, it comes back to what story we put to it. We have that power, and we also have the power to choose what we want to choose around it. Let's get more clarity in here too. Yeah. 5 of Wands. This is all about a lot of what I was talking about, because Wands is like our energy, our drive, our aha inspirations, and the spark within us. And so that's like our energy as well. And the 5 of Wands can feel like conflict, right? It usually has like a picture of 5 people that are all battling with the wands. And before, when we feel like life is happening to us, we feel like we're being attacked, or feel like they're ganging up on us. But when you realize and you transform and see life is happening for you, what happens is it switches into this. I always have this movie that plays in my head. It's like this kung fu movie where there's these monks in a monastery who are practicing fighting with their, the sticks, the big long, battle sticks, but they're not angry at one another. They're not fighting one another. They're not trying to kill and destroy one another. They're increasing and honing their skills by interacting with each other. And so that's how we see life, and how we can transform that is, if there's conflict that rises in our life, we can look at it and go, okay, why did I want this to come, and rise in my life at this point? What can I learn about it? What can I feel about it? And what is my experience? And so this is, very much coincided there. Yeah. And then you have the Empress. Beautiful. Empress is Mother Nature, Mother Nurture. She also is about new birth, and very much the divine feminine. So it is a message to here that, to make sure you're taking care of you. And with Mother Nature, being in here as well, I kind of feel like if you feel overwhelmed and you feel this conflict, just get away from it. Get away from the noise. Get off by yourself so you can connect, breathe, get all that, adrenaline that's flowing out of your system, because sometimes in those movies when they're battling, someone's feelings get hurt because they end up, jabbing them or smacking them upside the head with a stick, and then they get aggressive. And so those emotions start to flow, and suddenly it changes from being practiced to being personal. And when that happens, when you feel those start to rise, you can take this deep breath and step out of that. And also, she's very much the number 3, and the Empress is about creativity and expressing yourself and expressing, yourself to the world, which kind of fit into a message here too, is about your uniqueness. Share your uniqueness with the world. Be you. Let that flow. Don't let the fear of conflict restrict you as well. Know that your life is unfolding perfectly for you. No matter if people reject you, then you're like, okay, I wanted to experience where people didn't agree with me, right? And I get to learn about myself and others through that, which is beautiful. And then the full moon hits, and then you have the week after the full moon. And then you have the Devil, which it's not a bad card. This is our shadow. And what the shadow does for us is it brings to us those things that are holding us back, that are chaining us down, things that we're addicted to, which could be, addicted to, all the regular slew of addictions we're aware of in this day and time, but also addiction to being in control of things, of others, addiction of, to fear, addiction to that adrenaline of drama. There's all these things that are beliefs that we had from growing up, all this conditioning, all the supposed tos, the shoulds, the need tos, the have tos, the things that we fear, that those expectations that aren't met, we're going to be disappointed or we're going to get rejected. And so this shadow comes to us and it has all these hands, and it works in with with the Wheel of Fortune, because our shadow brings us all these awarenesses at the appointed time, showing us the cycles and the that we're stuck in, or the things that are chaining us down, these beliefs we have. We talked about we get to choose what story we apply to things. It will bring to us and show us the stories that are keeping us small, keeping us powerless, keeping us held down. And it does it in a not so subtle way. I usually mention, you'll have like 5 different situations, or like 6 hands, you'll have 6 different situations that come at you. And it's either your specific interactions with the people are what you're learning about, or they're going through things that are bringing awareness around something. Like I had a couple of weeks ago, a period of like a week and a half where I had a friend who contacted me, and I found out that she just lost her husband. Someone else, a friend of mine, lost their father. Another friend, their neighbor passed away. Another one, a dear friend, tried to commit suicide. I had another friend who did also lost someone in their life. And it was all in a matter of a week and a half. And I normally don't hear from a lot of those people, but I was hearing all these messages in a short amount of time. I'm like, I think someone's trying to tell me something. No, I'm not going to die. But it was my awareness around how I felt about death and how I felt about other people dealing with death. And it was, it's this stuff that comes up that shows us the message that we have. So I look at it as like this shadow messenger that's bringing you information for you. Again, not to you. It's for you, so you can be aware of it. And, this is right after that full moon. Yeah, because here's the world, which is all about significant endings to cycles. So everything we were just talking about, it brings in the awareness, how we can end a cycle. And so it's like endings and new beginnings. It's the full completion. And we're ready to move on to the next phase, the next adventure for what's coming. So definitely I love that, because it's like, yeah, I understand what I can let go of now. And then we go into the second week after the full moon. And you have the 6 of Pentacles. And this is all about giving and receiving. You have enough, and this is beautiful balance. And you're choosing where you're investing your energy and what you're giving to and what you're allowing yourself to receive. I also look at this as the card of codependency. Awareness around codependency, which definitely following this could be what you're becoming aware of. And I admit I'm a recovering enabler in codependent relationships. And so what happens when you first come into a relationship, it's like this. It's equal, give and receive, and you're like 2 adults in a relationship. In the beginning, it's, wow, this is awesome and amazing. But as an enabler, you have this underlying belief that if I have nothing to give to someone, they don't need me, and they will go find someone else. And so you have this need to be needed and this need to be the giver. And because if you're receiving from someone, that means you're weak and you're not in the interaction that is going to keep you safe. Because if you have this belief as an enabler that if I can make someone dependent on me, they'll never leave me. because they need me. And that worked out 0% of the time in my experience. Maybe it was different for you so far, but we'll see. So what happens is you start off in this, but it becomes this relationship where it's no longer adult and adult, it's parent and child. And you give and you give and you give and you give and you give, not allowing to receive. I can only be the one giving. So this person learns not to give to you because you're teaching them not to give to you. And so you're not feeling, you start getting drained, and then you're exhausted, and then you're resentful. And so that's where you end up in those emotions. And this person, when they're not able to give, they, in your relationship, they feel low about themselves, and they want to feel good about themselves, just as good as you feel when you're able to give, right? And so this little fishy, in order to feel good about itself, will invest its energy in giving outside of the relationship, which can be, of course, the old dramatic affair, or just pouring it into their friends, spending a lot of time with their friends and investing their emotions in their friends, or they'll pour themselves into their work, become a workaholic because they're getting that beautiful feeling of giving and getting rewarded for it. It could be a hobby, but they're investing it all outside. And so that's like this awareness that comes with this card, is that this need to be the giver only and not receiving is not going to end the way we wish it would. And instead of searching for our wholeness and what other people need us, we kind of enter a codependent relationship with ourselves, which is a healthy one. I'm the one that gives to me. I'm the one that receives from me. I mean, you find this deep source within you, when you connect to this understanding of how everything works. You understand that your love comes from the other side. Your love comes from this partnership with the Creator and all those other beings of unconditional love. That becomes your center, that becomes your whole. And then you, rather than being this kind of barrel with people pipelined in, drawing out your energy, you don't have any of that. You fill up, and then everyone gets your overflow of love. So you fill up with your unconditional love for yourself, and then this unconditional love flows out. And people really, at first, when you cut them off, they aren't too pleased. But rather than getting this bitter, resentful energy from us, they get this beautiful, unconditional love that is without expectation, and it tastes so much better that they learn, like, I like that a lot better, because you are full and healthy and joyful in that scenario. And so that's the energy that you're putting up and out to the world. And so that's all about this partnerships too, is that awareness around your partnerships, and that you're able to have, in fact, I'm going to put this card like this beautiful awareness of the give and receive, and that it's this beautiful flow with that. All right, and then you end up with the Daughter of Swords. And this would be normally like the Page of Swords in a regular tarot. Swords, all your beliefs, your mindsets, your thoughts, your attitudes, your expectations. And you have this beautiful Ace of Swords here, which empowers you to cut away those things that no longer serve you, cut away those beliefs and thoughts, and you have all these beautiful orbs of your partnership, like we were talking about, of all those beautiful beings of unconditional light, helping you with removing thoughts and beliefs that no longer serve you. So I really feel this beautiful transformation that happens here with this awareness. I'm just realizing everything happens for you, not to you. And as you transform, you just develop these new thoughts about, relationships around your relationship with the world, your relationship to yourself, your relationship to spirit, and even relationship, of course, one-on-one with individuals. So beautiful, beautiful awarenesses and transformations. Like we said, endings and new beginnings. Ending of a big cycle, though. It's not just a little small change. This is like a ending of a significant cycle that your shadow shows you this week after it. So exciting. It's nothing to be afraid of. You know, you're all about the living waters. You're an Aquarian. You bring these life-giving waters. So you have this energy that is, you know, the vessels that the water bearer brings. The water that's in that is the living waters. It is the, you know, essence of the Creator, the unconditional love of the Creator. And those waters, those living waters that quench, you also bring this awareness around what is not quenching your thirst. All these things in the outside world that were supposed to make you feel whole and complete, quench your thirst, quench your hunger, you know, make you feel full, have left disappointed, right? But and all that beautiful energy shows you and points you back to the heavens, right? Points you back to the capital T truths as you let the small t truths fall away. So beautiful energy. I'm excited for this. I'm also an Aquarian sun, so this definitely resonates, and I'm excited to see what unfolds and what more we can look at to have free us even more. So I'm going to leave it at that, and just know as you go through each and every day that you are unconditionally loved by the Creator of all things, and I love you too. Have an amazing full moon in Aries, and I'm sure I'll be talking to you very soon. You take care now.